So if you're struggling to gain market share, this is probably why. Welcome back to another episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur. Well, let's talk about what's going on in the economy right now. Now, before I start, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Michael Mojo. I'm the founder of Mojo Human Performance Institute, where we focus on business, mindset, and lifestyle hacking for driven mofos. And the reason why I do these episodes is that most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them. So the economy is changing at the moment. You're probably well aware of that. We've got inflation that's crazy. We also have unemployment that's very low, especially if you're in Australia. Unemployment rates are very low. We have people struggling to find staff and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Anyway, the media are picking up on it. They're driving all this craziness of now businesses going bankrupt and there's all these huge problems. But what I know is that this is the perfect time for those out there who are prepared to take action, and they will be the ones who gain market share. So I was having this conversation this morning with someone that I know, and we were just talking about, what does he think about the economic times? Or he was asking me, what do I think about these economic times? And I said, look, the economy is always shit in some way, shape, or form. So when everything's going well and the government is spending, all that means is that more people are starting new businesses. So when there's more opportunity, more opportunists exist. So they're going to come in, and so you're going to get more people starting businesses. You're going to get more people who want pay increases. Then that's going to drive up inflation. You're going to have more people spending because the government are spending more money. So there's going to be a whole bunch of problems that are related to when the economy is going good, supposedly. It's still going to be shit in a lot of different cases. The reverse happens when the economy is supposedly bad, when unemployment goes up. It's great because now you've got your pick from a lot of employees because now there are more people looking for jobs. Also, it means that as a business owner, you can start to create a bit more stricter and stronger terms of employment as well. The government also start to reduce and relax off of a lot of workplace laws and things like that. And I'm not saying that, this is the time that you take advantage of stuff, but it's just saying that over time, when you get a whole bunch of people that are entitled and or self-entitled, and the government keep making more and more rules and regulations because unemployment's low, everyone's employed, it's fantastic. When the government needs more taxation and they go, shit, 10% of our citizens are unemployed, we've got to get them into jobs, they start to relax off things a little bit. So it's always this pendulum that's swinging back and forward. And this is why I teach this stuff so much at our Business Growth Odyssey, because if you don't know how to control your psychology and see these things that are happening in the economy, very rarely do you see great opportunities. You just see whatever the media want you to see and what everyone else in your industry want you to see. And so even if inflation is going up, there are going to be problems. When inflation starts to slow down, that's going to cause problems. When the government are overspending, that's going to cause problems. When the government aren't spending, that's going to cause problems. So there's always these fucking problems that business owners have to deal with. And if you're not on the front foot, then you're always on the back foot. And this is what I said this morning, is that I think that it's going to be an amazing opportunity for a lot of business owners that have a growth mindset and want to grow and want to learn. And I saw this during COVID. The first probably 6 months to 12 months of COVID, most business owners shit their pants and things went backwards. A lot of cafes just went broke. People just throw up their hands and they give up. And so it opens up way more opportunities if you're ready and prepared. The problem is that most people don't prepare. They don't prepare to be better in marketing. They don't prepare to be better in sales. They don't prepare to be better in leadership, in management, in culture, and all these other areas that then allow them to thrive. They don't think to be better in their own psychology and their mindset to see these opportunities. And so most people just do what everybody else does. And this is what I was talking about with my friend this morning, and when we're having this chat. And I said the problem is that most plumbers go and they hang out with other plumbers, and builders hang out with builders. And there's all of these sort of conferences and stuff like that are industry conferences. Now they're great if you want to learn, but the problem is it's an industry conference. Therefore, you're the sum of the averages that are there. And so when an industry is going bad, everyone in the industry is complaining about the same shit. So how do you stand out and excel? Most people just fit into that same thing. Everything's tough, everything's hard, it's hard to get employees. I hear this from most industries at the moment. It's hard to find good employees. Yeah, because no one wants to come and work at your business. This is the time to get better. Get better with your employment strategy. Get better with your culture so that people will leave their jobs to come and work for you. This is your opportunity. But most people don't see it like that because most business owners, I don't want to say it in a harsh way, but most business owners have such a shitty mindset and such a shitty psychology that they stay stuck in the same way that they've always thought. And there are a lot of business owners, like if we have a look at it, if you started your business in 2010, 2011, you essentially have had this 10-year dream window of businesses going well. You haven't had to deal with a really shitty economy. Now, for the businesses that have been around for 20, 30, 40 years, the business owners that I've been talking to that have been around for that long, they don't give a shit whether the economy is good, whether the economy is bad, because they know their business is great. They're highly adaptable. And they know that they're always planning, prepping, making that 1% improvement day after day, 1% improvement in sales, 1% improvement in marketing, 1% improvement in leadership, 1% improvement in culture, 1% improvement in the mindset and the mentality of the management and the leadership team. And all of these things make a little difference day after day, but they, I guess, over time compound to create such an amazing result that they don't really give a shit because they know they're going to be around, whether the economy crashes or not, or corrects or whatever you want to call it. They're still going to be here because they know what it takes to run a really legitimate business. And I just find that the majority of business owners just don't think like that. And so, look, I think right now, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably going to have to be one of those people that decide, are you going to keep doing what you've always done? Are you going to keep thinking the way that you've always been thinking about? Which then is going to mean that you're going to have some really tough times, I think, in the next 24 to 36 months. And you might even go bankrupt. You might go out of business. Other competitors will come along and just absolutely obliterate you and crush you to pieces. And that's just because you're unadaptable. You know, if you have a look at a whole bunch of little seedlings that fall on the ground, there's only a couple that survive. And they're all fighting for water. They're all fighting for oxygen. They're all fighting for sunlight. It is what it is. And business is exactly the same. When economies go well and you've got another, let's say, 500 competitors enter your industry, like I'm in the coaching industry, which is fucking saturated. I can't wait for an economic downturn because this is my time to just go hard and win that game, because most other coaches won't be able to keep up. They won't have the same drive, the same mentality, the same mindset. When I see coaches sitting on a beach promoting this easy life and all that sort of stuff, I know that I'll outwork them by an extra 20 to 30 hours a week. Should I do that and be effective at it? There's no way they're going to keep up. And then also in the last 10 or 15 years, studying lots of marketing, sales, branding, and surrounding myself with the right people with the right mentality, and then consistently growing my mindset, they're not going to be able to compete. And so I wanted to use this time on this podcast to really ask a tough question. And that is, are you prepared to win the game? Because I can almost guarantee that there'll be some of you who are listening to this podcast and you probably won't think that it's going to be you, but it will be you. You know, it's when I used to work in the medical industry, there were a lot of people that never thought that bad things would happen to them with their health until the day that it happened. And I think that, ignorance is bliss until it's not bliss. And I think that a lot of business owners are pretty ignorant. I guess if you're listening to this, I would assume that people who are listening to my podcast are fairly growth driven. But then the question is, just because you think you're growth driven, are you really taking the actions to make sure that you're growing? I mean, I have anywhere between 20 to 30 conversations a week with different business owners, and 2 to 3% of those are committed to actually stepping up and taking action and doing something else to improve their situation, their circumstance. Most other people complain about being too busy, or they don't have the time, or they don't have the money, or they don't have the resources, they don't have the staff in order to change anything. But that's always been their excuse. And because of that, that's going to get reinforced. When things get bad, they're going to have less time. They're going to have less money. They're going to have less resources. They're probably going to have to let go of staff, which means there's going to be more pressure. If they don't know how to handle that, they're fucked. And I guess it's an amazing opportunity. So if you're one of those people out there who are listening to this and going, this guy gets it, you're probably going to be one of those people who are going to really thrive in the next 3 years and set yourself up for the big run 10 years following that. Okay. Because this is all economic cycles. So normally those who are setting themselves up to win consistently, normally when the opportunity's there, will win the game. Unfortunately, most people don't do that. And it's going to be an absolute bloodbath, I believe, in the next 36 months. And I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but it's going to be a bloodbath because most business owners especially, but most managers, leaders, even staff, they won't have done the things over the last 5 to 10 years to make sure that they're ready and prepared for tough times, so that by the time we come out of the tough times, everything is so much better and you have that running. I don't know if anyone else has ever had a shitty car, and I've driven a few of them in my time, but when you're coming up to a hill and you change down a gear and you get that big long run up and you slowly eventually get to the top, but when you don't get that run up, it's extremely hard and the car really struggles. And I think that's what's going to happen to a lot of business owners. I think that if people aren't prepping now and really getting themselves ready and getting a nice long run up, they're going to struggle to get to that top of the hill, especially if we have a 36-month downturn or a 24-month downturn. And when I say downturn, I mean a downturn in the economy as a whole. I'm not talking about in your industry, but normally industries sort of follow the economy in most cases, not all cases. But these are things that we want to think about. And then also, just because it's tough for your industry doesn't mean that things are going to be hard, because if you really think about it, let's just say 20% of your competitors go out of business. Those customers have to go somewhere. So if you're better at marketing, better at branding, better at sales, and surrounding yourself with the right people with the right mindset who want to go out there and capture that market, you may increase your sales by that 20%. Okay, and your business may boom during that time. Okay, and you may be the one who is employing people in your industry. But it's just, you've got to think differently about it. And I just find that most business business owners don't do it. And it's sad when I hear, I've heard a couple of people that I've known from around the place, their businesses, they've shut the doors. They've gone insolvent in the last couple of weeks. It's not a good thing or it's not a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is. And maybe they just weren't running effectively, or, for some people, COVID just hit them and they weren't prepared. They didn't have enough cash flow. And that's completely understandable. I know that these things happen. And I think that bankruptcy is also part of business. Like, there are lots of people out there who go bankrupt, and they might even go bankrupt once or twice, and their third business turns into $1 billion company. So I don't think it's a reason to give up, or it's not a reason to think that you're shit at business. It's just another lesson that there's things that you haven't learned that need to be put into place in order for you to achieve more and be more successful. This is also the reason why I have been doing these podcasts, because I knew that our economy is going to come into some tough times, and a lot of business owners have been reaching out. And so I just wanted to give some free resources. It's also the reason why I've set up our Facebook group, the No BS Business Hacks, because I want to be able to give away free resources to businesses and to be able to help business owners, people who want to better themselves, to be able to learn and grow to navigate these times. And look, even if I say that there's 10,000 business owners in that group, now there's not at the moment, but if there's 10,000 business owners in there are millions of business owners that aren't in there. And so that gives those 10% a higher likelihood that things are going to work out okay for them and they're going to have a good run in for everything. If you haven't already joined that group, jump across to Facebook, type in No BS Business Hacks in the search bar, and join that group. It's free. I just did Focus Fridays earlier today, which is like a productivity sprint, but I'm always adding new content in there. Also, you can book a call with me as well, or one of my coaches, and we can really help you to clarify what you need to focus on over the next, 3 months or so that you can really start to put things in action, achieve more, get more things done. I can work through any mindset blocks that you've got, and then give a bit of a plan that's going to help you to excel and succeed over the next 90 days to 2 years. I think for a lot of business owners, though, they just won't do it because they're just stuck in that pattern of always thinking that everything's going to be okay. Or they're one of those business owners that are fucking drowning at the moment and they're holding on to the smallest plank of wood that's just keeping them buoyant. And so they wake up every morning and they're just paddling like shit trying to survive. Both of those two places aren't good, okay? If you're stressed out and you're burnt out and you're worried consistently and you're fearful, that's going to be a downturn. That's going to cause problems in your business no matter what. And I've been there plenty of times before, and I've worked with plenty of business owners that are in that situation. And it's really tough because your mental state is how you perceive your life. And if you're waking up every day stressed, then your whole life feels like it's stressful. If you're fearful, then your life feels like it's fearful, because our mindset really creates our whole reality. I won't go into this. I've done it on other podcasts. Essentially, all of our senses, like our eyesight, our hearing, our sound, our taste, all of those things get filtered through a part of the brain called the thalamus, which is a gating mechanism, which then actually tells us what to see and what to perceive and what not to. And you can have 10 people in the same circumstance and every one of them has a different perception. That's why if you get your mindset right, especially right now, and you're making commitments to do that, you're setting yourself up to win the fucking game, because you'll see things differently in an economy when it's downturned. But most people just won't do that. But the ones who do will win the game. That's why I'm excited, because I know it's going to be a great opportunity to gain market share over the next 24 to 36 months, because I've been setting myself up for the last 10 years by studying marketing, branding, sales, learning all of this stuff, having great mentors, having good business coaches, but also as well being, working on my mindset consistently, daily. I'm ready to rock and roll. So I would highly recommend that if you're not doing that, definitely do it. It might be come to our business growth odyssey or something like that and surround yourself with driven business owners that think differently. Don't just keep surrounding yourself with people in your own industry that when everything's going well, everyone talks about how great everything's going, not looking at all the gaps in the industry that they should be filling right now, because everything's easy and people get complacent when shit's easy. But when times are tough, everyone will complain about it. And so there becomes this depression, this flatness, this stress, this anxiety, this burden. All of that stuff happens when an industry is going downhill. But that's the perfect opportunity if you've got the right mindset, because you just swoop in there, find the gaps, and off you go. You just start taking market share. And that's really where great businesses grow, is in those times. So anyway, if you want to know more information about Business Growth Odyssey, just hit me up on any of my socials. Also, remember, please jump across into our No BS Business Hacks group. All you've got to do is type it in the search bar on Facebook and you'll be able to find it in there. I know we've been getting probably about 50 or so new people joining every week. So I'm assuming a lot of you who are listening to this stuff are joining as well. So I do really appreciate it. But yeah, jump across there. Also, if you want, at the moment, I don't know when you're listening to this, but if as recent as when it goes up, I am actually taking time. I've got some set times out of my week where I'm taking calls with business owners to be able to help them to create that 90 to a year map, and then help them to progress and move forward with their business and what they need to focus on. Because most business owners try to focus on too much and they get shiny object syndrome and they jump around. This isn't the time to do that, especially when things are heading in the direction that they're heading. You want to be focused. You want to find those gaps. You want to be getting out there and you want to be having a growth mindset now, not a contraction mindset, which is where most industries will go. Remember, in nature, things expand or they contract. Things grow or things die. So if you don't have an expansion mentality and an expansion mindset and a growth mindset and a growth mentality, then you can only be contracting and dying. That's it. It's that simple. And that's a principle of physics and a principle of nature. So therefore, when someone says to me, oh, well, it's not one of those two, bullshit, because that is physics. Scientifically fucking proven. Everything in the universe expands or contracts. Nothing stays the same. And the same thing happens in industries. The same thing happens with businesses. And so it's something that I remind myself in any tough time is that it's expansion time. It's go time. We've got to grow. We can't contract into your problems. You have to expand into your problems. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't contract your business size, but you have to be expanding your marketing, expanding your sales and pushing hard into things instead of just consistently downsizing. You do that enough and you're gone. So anyway, I hope that helps, Driven Mofos. I really do appreciate you listening to these podcasts, and I do appreciate everyone who's liking and sharing these podcasts with other business owners and letting people know. I know at the moment it's pretty awesome. We're just over 2 months into the podcast, and we've got over 1,000 listeners per episode, which is pretty awesome. So, I'm very grateful for all of the listeners out there, and I really do appreciate it. And I hope you're getting massive value from these. If you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, go and do it right now. No BS Business Hacks on Facebook, and you'll see us there. So type it in the search bar. Anyway, Driven Mofos, have a great day. Keep kicking massive goals, and I look forward to you joining me back here on the next episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur.